everybody, and welcome back to Words with Wayman. I am your host, as always, Matt Wayman. Support us on the interwebs, Words with Wayman on Facebook, Words with Wayman on Twitter. We're going to jump in. Very awesome special guest, my friend, local Denver illustrator, artist, creative person, Mr. Brett Haynes. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I've tried to get you out for a little while. Finally got you. Finally snagged you. He's here.
We made it.
We did it. We first met when we worked together at the Vine Street Pub down there on 17th. And we worked together for quite a bit before I think we both realized that we kind of did creative things outside of just waiting tables and working in the kitchen.
Yeah, it did take a minute for us to get into that conversation.
But we found it. So you are predominantly an illustrator, but you do a lot of other stuff as well. When did you first get into illustrating and drawing?
I'd say that I've been drawing probably since I can remember, but my earliest memory of actually taking it seriously was in 5th grade. I had a Spanish teacher named Mr. Brown.
Nice.
And he didn't teach us Spanish. He taught us goal setting. And we would come in every day and review our goals for 15 minutes and then figure out how we would achieve them. And mine was actually to get this character called Drunk Bunny that me and my friend Drew DeBoer came up with printed on a skateboard deck.
Nice.
And that's when I started taking it seriously.
How did he still have a job? Nobody passed the Spanish test ever.
Public school.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to ask if it was I was like, this has to be a public school. That's probably better than, people don't remember Spanish as much, like even from like grade school now. So at least you got something cool out of it.
No, it was good. Actually, short story, he had this motivational speaker come in named Zig Ziglar. And it was great. I was super inspired by the speech. And at the end of the speech, he goes, I was talking to Mr. Brown and he called me and he hung up the phone and he called back and he said, "You know who you're talking to, the best damn group of kids in the nation," or whatever. And everyone was like all psyched, all pumped up. Oh, Mr. Brown said that. Then the guy came and spoke for the whole school and said the same thing about my principal. And I'm like, oh, this jabroni, total liar.
That's the old public speaking trick that gets to get everybody all jacked up at the end. That's a good tool. I'd probably take that. Just like the same group.
I was totally disencouraged by it.
Oh, I do that same thing whenever I wait tables. I use like the same joke to like 3 tables, just try to make sure they're not next to each other. Yeah. Does it taste like food? Huh? The stupid one. Well, that's cool. So you got into it pretty early. Did you get that printed onto a skateboard deck?
Never did. I think I ended up, finding a blank deck and painting it on.
Nice.
But learned a lot from sending emails out to companies at, how old are you in 5th grade? I don't know.
That's really cool. At least like to know, like look into the business side, because I know you're getting a little bit more into the business side these days as well.
Yeah.
Were you pretty into skating as a kid as well?
Oh, yeah. Actually, when I was thinking about coming over and talking to you about this, I wanted to say that I think a lot of my creativity and being able to view the world creatively comes from a lot of it comes from skateboarding.
Yeah. I think skateboarding is super creative as a thing, and like you look at the way people put lines together and stuff, or just the way that we were talking about before, like a lot of those skate decks, like people, just artists, graffiti, I feel like it all comes from like that same skate thing that was like started a long time ago.
And just figuring out how to use, architecture that's not meant for anything but being there in a creative way.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
And it's just like a bunch of misfits were always the ones like attracted to skateboarding, which was like, like the artists and some like the theater kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you still skate?
I do.
Nice.
I do tiny things. I need to take care of my wrists and my hands.
Yeah.
So.
Did you hurt yourself a decent amount?
Back in the day, I feel like I was indestructible.
Yeah.
But now, I'll hit a rock and break my wrist probably. So.
There's a pretty cool skate park up by the highway. You ever been up to that one?
Mm-mm.
In Denver?
Usually just street.
Nice. He's a street boy. He doesn't mess with that.
On the streets.
Just keep it to the park, but you park kids. I'll take it to the streets like the real kids.
Yeah. Well, we used to get excited about getting kicked out of spots and giving them shit when they kick us out. And I was just like, well, okay. Let's go over here.
That's such a cool thing, too, because like, you can kick us out, but first of all, we still got to skate here. And really, like, what are you going to do? We could come back tomorrow and you could kick us out again.
It's fun.
So is that pretty much what you did like through high school, just like skating? And
yeah, it's skateboarding and friends and drawing all the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you draw every day?
Every day. Yeah.
Do you have like a
definitely.
set thing? Are you like, I draw for 30 minutes, or is it more just like whenever you find the time?
You know, sometimes I might get burnt out or not be feeling it, and I'll take a break, or then pick up the guitar or go back to drawing. Yeah, it's just when I'm feeling it, really.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I find like I interview a lot of comedians and other artists and stuff too, and it seems to be, from all the people that I've interviewed, it is the rarity of the person to just sit down and be like, I'm doing like an hour, I'm doing 30 minutes, I'm doing this specific amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, it's become kind of a mix of habit and therapy. It just happens on its own now.
And if you like made yourself do it, it might become like seem or feel like work at that point, and then that takes some of the fun and the release out of it.
Yeah.
Did you always? So you started drawing. Were you always just pen and ink, or were you more of a color guy?
I would use whatever was around. When I started getting serious after high school, I mean, I was in art classes all through high school. But after high school, I started doing digital work, and then I did that for about 5 years. And then when I moved here, I decided I wanted to pursue a tattoo career. So since then, I've been using mostly ink and brushes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because the brushes imitate a lot what the tattoo gun does?
Yeah, to have a precise line all the way around the same thickness and the same darkness with a brush, it is pretty similar. Yeah.
Huh.
So,
that's crazy. I never knew that worked like that. And that, I mean, yeah, that's totally the biggest thing. I watch that show Ink Master all the time, and like there's these tattoos that these people get when you're like, dude, those lines are just gnarly. But I guess that's one of the things that I never even thought about with tattooing.
It's pretty important.
The line work is like probably, if not the most important thing, like really, really important.
It depends. I mean, for most tattoos, you want good line work because bold line work tattoos are going to hold up over the long run compared to like watercolor tattoos, which are popular now, but
they're going to look terrible.
They just kind of blob out over time, the watercolor style.
So either you have to get them touched up a lot, or that they're just going to look kind of just trashy.
Yeah.
It seems like such a big thing because I've seen so many that look really, really cool freshly after they're done.
Right.
But then in a couple of years, you're going to be looking like a real prankster down on the beach.
You shed a lot of skin.
Yeah.
Shed a lot of skin.
It's a little flakery. And you've been doing, which I think is really cool, you've been, tattooing a lot on yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning from a couple different guys. I don't have a shop apprenticeship, but I am learning from somebody that was a pro for 10 years. And,
awesome.
I don't exactly have everything I need or the knowledge or experience to be tattooing anyone else or the appropriate place that's hygienic, so I'm just filling up my legs.
Nice. And how did that work for the people out there that don't know? Like, how did you even go and get these people to kind of help you? Did you already know these people, these tattooers?
Yeah, well, actually, both of them came from work, meeting them through work. And
your current job?
Yeah. Well, the first guy that was teaching me was back home in Chicago. And then,
cool.
Yeah, the new guy, he's here in Denver, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've lived a lot of places, right?
Not a lot. A few. A handful.
Originally, what town in Illinois?
Orland Park.
Orland.
Rich little suburb.
Yeah. Overland Park, you said?
Orland
Park.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Overland Park is in Kansas. Yeah, rich little suburb. What brought you out to Denver?
Actually a car crash. And
that's how I got out here too. That's weird. Yeah. Everybody just like crashes on the outskirts of Denver, and that's the only way the city gets people.
Yeah. No, I crashed my car. At the time, I was actually teaching preschool and an after-school drawing program.
Awesome.
And my buddy had a job for me out here. He called me that day, and he's like, "Hey, come out. I got a job actually installing art in Aspen."
Awesome.
And I was like, "I can't. I got responsibilities going on. And trying to be with these kids." And 20 minutes later, lost control of my car in the snow. Called him back and said, "It's up that job. Here I come." Yeah, so.
That's pretty cool. I mean, props for you for saying, the after you crash your car, it is time for that change and all of that. How'd you get into preschool teaching? You had to go to school for that?
When I was in college, I was switching back and forth between illustration and early childhood education.
Cool. What college did you go
to? I went to a bunch of colleges, community colleges. School
Nice.
didn't really work out the best for me, but yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's super cool how was that teaching preschool?
I loved it, man. I would leave work every day with my face hurting from smiling.
Kids rule.
Yeah,
Kids are
great.
the best. The worst part's the parents. Like, every time I wait on kids, like, I love kids so much.
Yeah.
And they're so free and open, and that's kind of like what I feel like art is too.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want it to be, and kids can look at the world like that.
I think that they're inspirational in that way. You know, there's no boundaries yet.
Yeah.
And, you know, I strive to be childish. In a
Absolutely.
way.
That's the only time in your life that you can actually be 100% creative, because you're not like blocked by all the constraints of like getting older
Yeah.
and realizing all these problems and stuff.
They're still there. I mean, the constraints are still there, but I think you can kind of train yourself to be in a mindset where you're, you know, childlike. And
Yeah.
that's important.
How long did you teach kids for?
2 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
It seems like such a fun little
It
thing.
was great.
Yeah.
Mr. Brett, Mr. Brett. Yeah. When they're acting up, you just tell them that Santa's watching through the little red dot on the wall. Hi, Santa.
Santa.
Yeah.
That's because they are. I mean, they're easy. Yeah. I mean, that's such
Just
a cool
lie
thing.
to them. It works.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to grow up to be little liars, too. It's funny how I find, like, waiting on people all the time, how similar to their parents kids become. Like, they're just
Yeah.
little versions of that.
It's scary. I mean, it's a scary thing. I feel like, you know, if you think about if you're becoming like your parents or not,
Yeah.
I don't know. My dad eats chips and a soda before bed every night. I like to do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's your thing, too?
That's good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I find them super similar to my grandpa. He was like an art guy, and he ran an advertising firm, and I'm trying to
Okay.
get in the ad game and stuff too. But it's
Cool.
like stuff you didn't even think about until we were talking one Christmas, and I was like, thinking about getting in the ad game, and he's like, I used to run an agency.
That's cool.
It's like we're the same exact person. So you came out to Denver, so you were living up in Aspen for a little bit?
No, well, so the job he offered me was installing artwork for people in Aspen that buy these like multi-million-dollar sculptures.
Whoa.
But then by the time I got out here, the job was taken.
Okay.
So yeah, I moved right to Denver.
It took a little bit to get out here.
Yeah, I think less than a month, but
Yeah.
yeah, by that time the job was.
Did
scooped up, so.
you know anybody in Denver at that time?
Oh yeah, like my college main crew from
Oh, nice.
college is out here. Yeah, so
So you already had like a good group of friends
Yeah.
right when you got out here.
I don't think I would have come without them being here. So yeah.
That's super cool because I mean this city is super rad, but I mean that to immediately move to a city and have that set of friends seems
Mhm.
very reassuring.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's more comfortable to get set up, and then you build a network of people because they've already been here for 2 years. So,
Mhm.
you know, I wouldn't have met you without Cody. And
Oh,
Cody
yeah.
got me the job. And,
Yeah, and like you can get those jobs quicker because they've
Yeah.
already set up these relationships with other
Mhm.
people. That's super rad. Did you like the city right away when you moved out here?
Yeah, I used to come visit actually all the time.
Oh, cool. So you kind of knew it.
Yeah, I knew a bit about Colorado. I've been trying to get out here forever, and then I just kept getting kind of trapped in the Midwest.
Mhm.
You know,
It happens. I know a lot of people that just like they've tried to leave several times.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work out.
but you know, I'm grateful because being here in this last year, I just became refreshed about actually art being a real, legitimate, possible career, basically.
Yeah.
Where I was raised in the Midwest and the atmosphere I was raised in, it was kind of like not a real thing.
I find that a lot,
You know?
especially I think New Orleans is really big. I mean, you also see like, the First Friday scene.
Mhm.
New Orleans is really big out here, but you also just see, you meet more artists and you meet people
Yeah.
that actually want to talk about their art as opposed to a lot of, back home at the Midwest, either you don't meet those people or they're fewer and far between.
Right. And just being, you know, into it from such an early age and knowing that's what you want to do and not having as
Mhm.
many avenues, you know, now it's like an
Yeah.
awakening to be here and be like, yeah, this is doable and it's happening.
And like all the
It's
badass
great.
museums up here, like MCA is Museum of
Yeah.
Contemporary Art of Denver is probably one of my favorite museums in the entire world. They do those free days too, so like I've just been exposed to so much more art up
Yeah.
here. Like I went to 5 museums one night just like on my bike, and they're all within like a mile.
Right. Yeah, it's
Like,
great.
you can take in all the stuff for free, which would in a lot of other cities cost a bunch of money.
Free things rule.
And it's just like I respect it more when I can see it for free. Like if I pay $20, I'm almost like judging it as this thing that I paid $20 for, as opposed to just accepting it for what it really is. A painting that could sell for $1 million, but
Yeah.
still, I'm not that into it. It's crazy. Art's really cool. Well, like I said, that's as quick as these things go. I always tell people they go fast, but it's because they do, everybody. Support us online at Words with Wayman on Twitter, Words with Wayman on Facebook. And before we get out of here, let everybody know where they can find out your stuff.
Okay, I just launched an apparel label called Ghost Life at GHOST_LYF on Instagram.
Nice.
Also on Facebook, and hashtag BHaynes, BHAYNES art to see my illustrations.
Nailed it. Crushed it. Crushed it.
Boom.
Everybody, support him. Check out his stuff. Buy his apparel. He does it all. A super cool guy. Guys, thank you all so much for listening. We will be right back with part 2.